今回の動画では NI コネクト2026のキーノートセッションで紹介されていた少し先の未来の展望についての話をまとめてみました。このキーノートセッションでは、このイベント当時にはまだリリースされていなかったNigelによるコード生成の様子を前半パートで紹介していましたが、後半パートではさらに先の未来にどのようなことができるのかのデモを行っていました。Nigelによるコード生成が可能になった LabVIEW 2026 Q3 がリリースされて以降、コード生成の実際の様子をいくつかのビデオで紹介してきましたが、それらコード生成という一つの大きな節目の機能が出てきた今、これらの技術がより進化することでどのようなことができるのかについて改めて見ていこうと思い、この動画を作っています。セッションの様子を紹介する前に、いくつかセッションの中で扱われている用語とセッションの見どころについて説明したいと思います。早速セッションを見たいという方はすべて日本語字幕をつけているので、概要欄で各チャプターを見て時間を飛ばしてみてください。まず用語についてお話しします。セッション中ところどころで T&M という表現がされていますが、これはテスト&メジャメント、つまりテストと計測のことを指しています。また、SystemLinkというソフトウェアの話も出てきます。これはテストや計測を行う上で必要になるハードウェアやソフトウェアを管理するためのソフトウェアだと考えてください。LabVIEWとは独立したソフトになります。また、テストスタンドというソフトウェアも出てきます。これは LabVIEWを含め様々な言語で書かれたテストのためのプログラムを管理し、それらのプログラムをどのような条件、順番で実行するかを設計し、テストを自動化するために使うソフトウェアで、これもまた LabVIEW とは全く別のソフトウェアになります。次にセッションの見どころです。こちらにセッションをいくつかのトピックで分けて紹介していますが、特に興味深いのは、Nigelが LabVIEW などとは独立したアプリケーションとして振る舞い、テスト計画書を読んでハードウェアの選定を行ったり、テストに必要とあれば LabVIEW や Python でその場でプログラムを書いて、複数のソフトウェアとの連携を通じてスムーズに環境構築を行っている点です。当然、これらはまだリリースされている機能ではなく、実際にリリースされた際にはまた違う機能になっている可能性はあると思いますが、少なくともこういう未来を目指しているという部分はかなり期待していいものだと思います。では、説明はこれくらいにして、実際のセッションをどうぞ。
At the core of our platform are software. It is key that AI is fundamentally changing the way many of you think about and use software across your workflows. And because of that, I want to talk a little bit more about the future of Nigel and how it will change the way you design, build, and deploy your test systems. Now, we've shown you Nigel as an advisor and Nigel as an author, but the future of test requires Nigel to have far greater capability. The future of test requires Nigel to become agentic. And soon, Nigel will expand beyond the current in-product experience to help orchestrate tasks across your entire workflows. And we're super excited about how this is going to accelerate your productivity as you shift from using purpose-driven tools to collaborating with an AI-first, outcome-driven Nigel agent. And that future, as exciting as it sounds, may be even closer than you think. So to see it in action, please help welcome Chief Technology Officer Kevin Schultz.
All right. As Charles shared, Nigel will be your T&M optimized, trusted workflow and context-aware agent. Ultimately, you need AI that moves you from agentic coding to agentic engineering. And that's exactly where we're taking Nigel. As an agent, Nigel will evolve from being embedded in individual applications to a standalone experience that supports your entire workflow and connects seamlessly to the tools you require. Nigel will work natively across LabVIEW Plus and SystemLink, while also integrating with the broader ecosystem of tools you use, including open source. It empowers you to decide when to rely on proven technologies, and when to adopt new approaches while maintaining the trust, safety, and professional workflows of the NI platform. Now, to do this, Nigel will utilize our decades of T&M expertise, industry-leading hardware and software, your rich contextual data, and the best technologies in the AI industry. The end result? You'll have the ability to unlock transformative insight and solve problems that were previously out of reach. Now today, I want to give you a sneak peek, an early look at how we're engineering Nigel to deliver the future of test. And while I do believe a picture's worth 1,000 words, a demo is worth even more. So please welcome to the stage someone you've seen up here before, NI Distinguished Engineer, Alejandro Barreto.
Awesome. Hey, everyone. I am stoked to be back here to share what the team has been building this last year.
All right, so Alejandro, why don't you drive the demo while I explain how we're engineering Nigel for the future of test?
Absolutely. But a quick note before we get started. We've cached some of Nigel's responses today because we have a limited time on stage.
All right, so one of the first things a validation engineer does is read the test plan and figure out what kind of test system they need. So after hours of just reading the test plan, the real work starts. Walking the lab, looking for available hardware, digging through documentation, spending hours online trying to select the right architecture from multiple options. This feels harder than it should be. So why not ask Nigel? So Alejandro, can you ask Nigel to design a test system for this power management IC?
Sure thing, Kevin. We can definitely do that.
Okay, so we've taught Nigel to read test plans, make smart, grounded recommendations based on expert-tuned skills and APIs. As Nigel responds, you'll notice something important. It asks follow-up questions to get more context. It knows which questions are important. It takes multiple steps to avoid hallucinating solutions that could damage your hardware or create safety risks.
Yeah, so Nigel right now is reading my test plan, and I've asked it, what hardware do we need to test it? And it came back to me with a couple of options. And as the expert in the loop, I'm going to review these options and pick one before we keep going.
And the options Nigel returned are backed by 5 decades of our test and measurement expertise. And extensive information about the NI and hardware and software platform we've trained it with.
Yeah, because I want to reuse my hardware and I think I have an SMU, I'm going to pick option C. So let's do that.
So when designing test system, Nigel knows to connect to SystemLink. It can find your existing assets, check utilization, verify calibration dates. You don't have to prompt anything. Nigel just does it. Nigel connects to all your NI software. That means less time fighting general purpose AI with endless prompts and burned credits. No extra setup, no MCP servers to install. Nigel just works right out of the box. So, how did Nigel do?
Yeah, so Nigel did find the SMU that I thought I had because it's tracked in SystemLink. It knows the specs for all my hardware, no guessing here. But Nigel also noticed that my SMU is at 85% utilization, and it's not going to be much available this month. So Nigel suggested to get started, I can use this Keithley SMU as a substitute while I go and order a new NI one from ni.com.
I think you know that purchase rec's approved. Okay, so now that we have a plan, I think we're ready to move forward. Let's document it. Nigel updates your test plan and other documents to reflect what you've chosen. It will show you the changes as they're being made. As always, you stay in control, and you can directly edit the test plan alongside Nigel. This is how we maintain trust and visibility to make changes to your projects. Now, Nigel is also connected to version control. So Alejandro, why don't you finish up the test plan and pull it up for review? We'll put it up for review.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's open up our Git pending changes. Let me see here, we have one change. I'm going to open up the file, do a quick review of it. It looks good, so I'm going to stage it and say, hey, we're done test plan. If I can type. Commit. All done. What might have taken hours now only takes minutes. That's the power of Nigel. Now I'm ready to open up a pull request on GitHub.
Okay, so let's pivot. Let's pivot to the middle of the workflow. It's time to write and deploy your test procedure. I want to show you some ways Nigel is advancing with even more capabilities in these steps. So, Alejandro, let's test the power efficiency and quiescent current of the DUT we have.
Yeah, and so for this task, I'm going to choose Claude Opus 4.7.
That's important. You know, Nigel connects to the industry-leading frontier models and is model agnostic. You can pick the model that works best for the task at hand. Maybe you like GPT for brainstorming, Claude for code. Maybe you want to compare outputs side by side. You can even run models in your own cloud or Azure GovCloud if you have specific security requirements. You can even switch models mid-task. So as Nigel plans to implement your tests, it recognizes the value of reusing proven, validated code. So, Alejandro, what has Nigel found for these two tests?
Yeah, so right now, Nigel's looking through the entire repo, looking for VIs or other assets it can use in order to do this test. And so there's this is a pretty big repo, and it looks like it found, VIs for the power efficiency test. That's great, it actually found 2 of them. But for the quiescent current test, it didn't find anything. So perhaps, yeah, should we have Nigel write a test for us?
Well, definitely. Now, you know, we already know Nigel can do it in LabVIEW. Graham and Asrar just showed that a little bit ago. So I want you to do it in Python.
Python. Now, come to think of it, actually, I have a Jupyter notebook that I got from a colleague the other week. Maybe I can open that up and use it as an inspiration. It's got the measurement theory for it. Let's go.
So Nigel is also language agnostic. It lets you work in any language you choose. LabVIEW, Python, C#, Rust. You choose the best language for the job. Nigel uses the underlying LLMs, writes the code, and its expert tuning means it's faster and more accurate than general purpose AI. So let's pause here. Alejandro, what has Nigel done so far?
Yeah, so Nigel already wrote my Python test. I can see here Measure IQ. It's using the NIDC Power gRPC API, which is really great. And it's on its way to write a test and sequence, I believe.
All right. So I want to emphasize an important point. Nigel can code this test faster with fewer tokens because it's leveraging the TNM skills that we have built into it. And it's more likely to get right on the first time compared to Claude code. That means less time debugging, more time testing. So, you got any proof points of that, Alejandro?
Yeah, Kevin, we have a lot of proof points, but one of them is one of our test engineers had a task that took 20 hours over a course of 2 weeks, and he was actually using AI tools in VS Code to help him. But with Nigel AI, it only took 20 minutes, and it worked on the first shot. Our test engineer didn't have to learn about or teach an AI how to stitch several tools together. That's actually really complex to do. He said it best afterwards. I can now do things with Nigel I could only imagine before.
All right, pretty impressive, you know. So, but what about the power efficiency test?
Yeah, let's scroll up because I thought I saw, this table over here. Here I can see that Nigel found 2 VIs and it picked one. And Nigel doesn't just look at the similarity in the name of the file or even in the structure of the code. It does do those things, but it also uses connection to SystemLink to find real usage data and bring it in and help the conversation. So Nigel picked a VI here. This one over here has about 4,500 actual test results associated with it. This one only had 500, so it went with the first one.
So that's what it means to be deeply integrated with your tools and data. It's not just what looks right on paper. Nigel tells you what's actually worked before. so you have more confidence in your tests. So, Alejandro, it looks like Nigel just created a test stand sequence in record time. And the conversation doesn't stop there. Nigel and the context stays with you in test stand. You can ask Nigel to tweak the sequence, optimize it, explain what it just did.
Yeah, so Nigel comes with me wherever I go. I've just opened up the test stand sequence in actual full test stand, and I can look through all the settings, and there's my conversation. I can continue it here. So whether that's Nigel goes with me wherever I go, whether that's test stand, LabVIEW, Instrument Studio, or third-party tools. Yes, even VS Code. So let's take a look at a recording I had with Nigel in VS Code. And so here, Nigel's with me in VS Code. I asked him to make a change to the Python file, and Nigel knows to update the test stand sequence as well. Conversations everywhere. Same thing would happen if I were to do this in Claude Code, OpenAI Codex, Google Anti-Gravity, GitHub Copilot, or whether I was using local models with open code. It doesn't matter. Nigel's there with you, whichever agent you prefer.
So what you just saw is the new normal for test development. AI accelerated everything. Your tools, your models, your workflows. You choose how much AI to use and where to use it. And Nigel is right there with you to make you more productive. So let's look at one more way Nigel can benefit your workflow. Debugging and analysis. We want to test the 5-volt switching ripple on this DUT. So Alejandro, can you have Nigel design an interactive UI using our scope?
You bet. That'll be easy. Let's do it.
Nigel's going to give us a UI that's fully interactive, fully customizable, with all the features you'd expect. Of course, you could build this yourself with enough time, or you could spend days with a general purpose AI, fighting prompts, vibe code bugs. But Nigel can build it in seconds. No code, no configuration. Nigel knows how to talk directly to our hardware.
Yeah, let me just send this prompt here to continue configuring my panel. Yeah, Nigel's connected to my PXI right here remotely through our gRPC drivers. And we're streaming back live waveform data right from the scopes. I also prompted Nigel to show me my harmonics. So that's this over here. I can see the switching ripple on the 5-volt rail, and it looks a little different than I remember. So let's go a bit further beyond and see if I can overlay live historical data with the live data so I can compare these results with what I saw last week. There it is.
All right. So this is a fully custom chart that Nigel made on the fly. Nigel's pulling historical 5-volt measurements, computing a mean, tolerance band, and rendering it behind the live trace. From there, you can customize anything, add features, change layouts. You can use it as a starting point for something much bigger. Nigel even saves the UI as source code, so you can use it in a variety of applications.
Yeah, Kevin, this is a game changer for debugging. Nigel computes statistics and overlays them on my data for context. I can see in real time how this unit compares to the historical population. I can spot outliers or early signs of drift immediately. You know what? Let's print this out so I can share this with the team. And I have an old printer I found.
I think it's a dot matrix printer.
It's really loud.
I'd rather talk. Okay. So I think this shows Nigel can connect to any tools you use, whether it be modern MCP or vintage printer. Now, since I don't have the time for wait for this, I think turning it off was the right answer. But anyway. So why don't you just send me a link?
Yeah, we can just share this with you. And hey, from NI Connect 2026. All done. Shared it with you.
Thank you, Alejandro. So what you just saw is more than consumer AI or generic assistant. You saw Nigel working as a trusted agent using open language agnostic tools grounded in deep TNM expertise and proven IP. So wherever you are in your workflow, whether you're designing a test system, implementing a test sequence, or building a custom application, Nigel will help you be more productive and get you more meaningful insight from your measurements. Thank you.
いかがだったでしょうか。 NI.com のソフトウェアのロードマップを見る限り、今見てきたセッションで紹介されていた内容は、早ければ来年に登場するものもありそうです。AI を使っていろいろな作業を効率化しても、最終的な決定権は人間側にある点は今後も変わらないと思いますが、人が何時間もかけて進めていた作業を圧倒的に短縮できる点は魅力的で、これからもこうした AI の力を積極的に活用していける環境が整っていく、技術の進歩を視聴者の皆さんと共有できたらいいなと思います。それでは今回の動画はここまでになります。ご視聴いただきありがとうございました。LabVIEW初心者の方向けの学習記事、プログラム例など多数掲載中。マーブルルールブログもよろしくお願いします。